Hi days. The last class we have started our new chapter. So there we studied one of the most important process, that is what? Diffusion. So now we are going to study about what are the importance of this process, that is what? Diffusion. Okay. So diffusion, it keeps the plant tissue wall moist. It helps to keep the internal tissue wall of the plant in the moist condition. So the internal tissue wall may be in the wet condition always. Okay. So it is due to the diffusion. Then the distribution of ions and molecules. The distribution of ions and molecules is due to what? The process of diffusion. So diffusion helps in the distribution of ions and molecules throughout the protoplast, throughout the cell. Then it helps in the transpiration. The moment the loss of water through the stomata is due to what? The diffusion. So these are what the importance of diffusion. Then the smell of flowers is also due to the diffusion of aromatic compounds from the flower. It helps to attract, the smell may help to attract the pollinators. So these are some of the importance of what? Diffusion in the plant body. So now we are moving to the next important process. Okay, that is what? Osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water molecule. It's the movement of water molecule through a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, the water molecule through a semi-permeable membrane from its higher concentration, from a region of its higher concentration to a region of its lower concentration. That is known as what? Osmosis. So osmosis occurs through a semi-permeable membrane. So what is a semi-permeable membrane? It's a type of membrane which allows the movement of water molecule through this, and it prevents the molecule of the movement of what? The solutes. So it allows the movement of water molecules and it prevents the molecule of what? Solutes through it. So that type of membrane is known as what? Semi-permeable. It is selectively permeable. Semi-permeable membrane. The cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. So like that, I will show you an egg membrane. Okay, just look here. You can see here. This is the egg membrane. Okay, this one. So this is the egg membrane. So outside that you can see the shell. So just below the shell you can see the egg membrane. And this egg membrane, it permit what? The water molecules. So this egg membrane can permit the water molecules. So there are two types of what? Osmosis. That is what? Endosmosis and exosmosis. So the endosmosis, it is the inward diffusion of water. Okay, so here, so if you remove this or this shell, you will get what? If we remove this shell, we will get this membrane. So coming in contact with the water, there are chances that what? The water may get into this egg, inside of this cell. Okay, so the inward movement of water, the inward diffusion of water into the cell is known as what? The endosmosis. Here in this solution you can see here, these are the seeds. Okay, these are some seeds are here. So here you can see that this solution, this is what? Water. So here inside this seed, the amount of water may be less than what? This outside. So here the outside medium, there is more amount of water. So what happens is that, So from this outside medium, the water may enter into the seed. Okay, when water enter into a cell, what happens? That may swell up. So here the seed has just swelled. Okay, so these are all what? Swelled up. Okay, so it is due to what? This is due to the inward movement of what? The inward diffusion of what? The water molecules through the semi-permeable membrane. So this is what? The end osmosis. End osmosis. Okay. Then if we take the, this solution is what? Highly concentrated solution. Okay, it's a salt solution. Okay, so it's highly concentrated solution. So the water molecule is less in this solution. So what happens is that the water from inside a cell may go to what? The outside. So exosmosis is what? It is the outward diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane. The outward diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane is known as what? Exosmosis. That may lead to the shrinking of the cell. Cell may shrink. But here in this case of endosmosis, what happens? There is what? Swelling up of the cell. So this is the difference between the endosmosis and exosmosis. So we have just studied what? Osmosis. So this process occurs through only a semi-permeable membrane. And what is semi-permeable membrane? It's a type of membrane which allows the movement of water molecules, the solvents. Okay, and it prevents the movement of what? The solutes. So such type of membrane is known as the semi-permeable membrane, and the egg membrane is an example for what? Semi-permeable membrane, and it may be endosmosis or exosmosis. Now you may consider that this is a highly concentrated solution. So this solution is what? Highly concentrated solution, and you may just consider that this is a semi-permeable membrane. So here the solution is what? Highly concentrated. That means the solute is more and water is less. And here we can say that what? Water amount of water is greater, is more, and the solute is less. So there is what? The exosmosis may take place. That is what? The outward diffusion of water through this semi-permeable membrane into this solution. So exosmosis may take place. So there is what? The entry of water into this solution through this semi-permeable membrane. So to stop this type of movement, so to stop the entry of water into the solution, to stop the entry of water into this solution through a semi-permeable membrane, a pressure is needed. Okay, so the pressure required to completely stop the entry of what? Water into a solution. So that solution is this, a solution across a semi-permeable membrane. So that semi-permeable membrane is this one. Okay, so the pressure required to completely stop the entry of water into a solution across a semi-permeable membrane is known as what? The osmotic pressure. Okay, then the measure of the tendency of water molecules, the measure of the tendency of what? Water molecules to diffuse out of it is known as, that measure is known as what? The osmotic potential. So this is a concentrated solution, highly concentrated solution. So in highly concentrated solution there is what? The osmotic potential is very less. There is low osmotic potential. But in a dilute solution, the osmotic potential is very high. In pure water there is what? High amount of water, the osmotic potential. Okay. Now we are going to study about some of the importance of the osmosis. Okay. The entry of water from soil into the root. The entry of water from soil into the root, it is due to what? Osmosis. It's a very important thing. Okay. Then the seed germination. The seed germination is also due to what? Osmosis. Then the cell to cell movement of water. Cell, you know that the water is moving from cell to cell. The cell to cell movement of the water is due to osmosis. Then the opening and the closing of stomata is also due to the osmosis. Then the living cells which remain turgid, it remains strengthened or swollen because of what? The osmosis. So these are some of the importance of what? Osmosis in the plant body. Now, if you take a plant cell and place it in a solution, if you take you are taking a plant cell and placing it in a solution, okay, at that time what will happen? There are three chances. It may shrink, or it may swell, or it may remain unchanged. Okay, so if you are taking a plant cell and place it, put it in a solution. So there are three chances. Okay, either it may remain unchanged, or it may shrink, or it may swell. That the plant cell may swell. These conditions, these may be due to what? The tonicity of the solution. Then what is tonicity? It is the relative concentration of the solution which determines the direction and extent of diffusion. The direction and the extent of diffusion is determined by what? The relative concentration of the solution. So that is known as what? The tonicity. Then based on this tonicity, this concentration of the solution, there may be three types of solutions. There are maybe three types of solution based on the tonicity. They are isotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and a hypotonic solution. In the case of isotonic solution, the outside and inside, both the medium of the cell membrane are what? They are almost similar. That means there is no movement of water molecules across the cell membrane. In isotonic solution, the cell remain unchanged because there is no movement of water molecules across the cell membrane. In the case of hypertonic solution, the outside solution, the outside of the cell membrane, it may contain more solutes. It is called hypertonic. Okay. So what happens is that there is the water molecule move inside to outside. The water molecule move from inside to outside. That means what? There is what? That taken place what? Exosmosis may take place in the hypertonic solution. So in hypertonic solution there is what? Water molecules move from inside the cell membrane to what? Outside of the solution. That means in the solution. That is known as what? Exosmosis. Then in the case of hypertonic solution, the just opposite. Okay, that means what? Inside there is what? Water molecules move from outside to inside. That is from the solution into the cell. Okay, that is known as what? Hypotonic solution. Okay, that means what? There is endosmosis. The inward movement, the inward diffusion of water may take place. Okay, so there are three types of solution: isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic solution. It is based on what? It is based on the concentration, the relative concentration of the solution, and that determines the direction and the extent of the diffusion. Okay. Now we are going to conclude this section. Okay. So in this section, we have some experiments. Okay. In the textbook, there are some experiments. You may go through that experiments. Okay. You may just read that experiment. So if you find any difficulty when you're reading this experiment, if you feel any doubt, you may just call me or you can message me. Okay, in this situation we cannot do that type of experiments. Okay, so if we were in the actual classroom, we would have done it. Okay, so you just go through that experiments. Okay, so when you find any difficulty, any doubt, you may just call me or you can message me. Okay, so today we are going to conclude. Okay, so all of you take care. Okay, so thank you.